Well, in the midst of all this angst about a diplomatic row between the United States and South Africa, some encouraging news out of South Africa. After the overnight expulsion persona non grata status granted to Ambassador Ebrahim Rasool, the presidency of South Africa actually issued a tweet early today, Saturday, the 15th of March, 2024, in which they stated the presidency notes Rasool expulsion. The presidency has noted the regrettable expulsion of South Africa's ambassador to the United States, Mr. Ebrahim Rasool. The presidency urges all relevant and impacted stakeholders to maintain the established diplomatic decorum in their engagement with the matter. South Africa remains committed to building a mutually beneficial relationship with the United States, issued by the presidency of the Republic of South Africa. Now, when that came out early in the morning, one would have to question it. It seems as if the government of South Africa is almost intentionally poking the bear and trying to cause a conflict with the United States through their actions. Of course, the actions over the past several years have borne that out to be the case. And this is why on the 6th of February, 2024, during the Biden administration, bipartisan members of the House of Representatives sought to redefine that relationship and punish South Africa. It didn't go anywhere because Biden would never have signed it, and the Senate was controlled by the Democrats, so it never saw the light of the day as a bill. It remained just a resolution that died in the House. However, this tension has been building for years. It's not something because of Donald Trump, and it sure as heck has nothing to do with Elon Musk, but they continue to push this narrative and saying Trump doesn't know what he's talking about, or just flat out calling him names. But more good news tonight. According to Times Live, high-ranking government officials have told the Sunday Times that no ambassador can get away with attacking a sitting president of their host country in the way that Rasool had. You can't criticize your host in the manner that he did, using the type of language he did. Rasool knows this because it is part of the training diplomats get, according to the official. This is what I said in a video I just did. The official said South Africa would have done the same thing had a U.S. ambassador to South Africa behaved in the same manner. Now, people are trying to equate Ruben Brigady's situation with Rasool, but Ruben Brigady never disparaged or said anything bad about South Africa. He simply questioned the situation around the Lady R. And that came after 5 months of frustration by Ambassador Brigady and the diplomatic mission in Hatfield asking the South African government to explain what had happened with the Lady R. We knew about it. We don't even need spies in South Africa. It was all in social media because people live in Simonstown. So the Brigady situation, not even remotely the same as Rasool. Rasool intentionally poked a bear, and now he's getting clawed. And this is what he said, in part. The supremacist assault on incumbency, we see it in the domestic politics of the United States, the MAGA movement, the Make America Great Again movement, as a response not simply to a supremacist instinct, but the very clear data that shows great demographic shifts in the United States in which the voting electorate in the U.S. is projected to become 48% white. Now, his expulsion is yet another sting in that relationship between the United States and South Africa, which is on very frosty ground at this moment. Officials were quick to characterize Rasool's debacle as a separate incident of his own making and not another skirmish in the relationship, which is exactly what I've said. It's good to see South African officials using some calm. I said that Ambassador Rasool did this in his personal capacity, not as an official role, and the government of South Africa should have recalled him and sanctioned him. Well, he's coming back because he's been expelled, not because he was recalled. That would have been smarter for them to call him. On this one, you can't fault the United States, said a government official who wished to remain anonymous. This latest action should not be viewed in the context of tensions between Pretoria and Washington. It's an isolated incident of somebody who crossed the line that diplomats know shouldn't be crossed. Now, according to Times Live, President Ramaphosa doesn't seem to be too fazed by this, and I think he shouldn't be. I think the smart thing is to do exactly what they're doing now and say that this was in his personal capacity and he's out of a job. You don't do those sorts of things. This is quite the contrast to the EFF and a bunch of wackadoodle lunatics on social media threatening Joel Pollak's life, threatening to burn the American embassy. This is insanity. At least the government of South Africa is acting like adults, and that's encouraging because it hasn't been acting like an adult until recently. President Ramaphosa's spokesman, Vincent Magwenya, said that there was no appetite to retaliate against Rasool's expulsion, which he confirmed was final. He said Rasool had a few days in which to pack up and leave Washington. DIRCO spokesman Crispin Peary said that Rasool's expulsion was regrettable as the veteran had been making progress in resolving the diplomatic fallout between the U.S. and South Africa. Now, that's just gobbledygook. He had making no progress. Nobody wants to talk to this guy. He couldn't get an office call. He's probably frustrated. That's why he said it. Well, he can be frustrated at home now in the Western Cape. They claim that Ambassador Rasool was on the verge of an engagement with a strategic official in the White House. This regrettable development has scuttled the significant progress. Well, AfriForum, Solidarity, and the Democratic Alliance have all gotten the White House. Perhaps you should send someone reasonable to D.C. instead of Ambassador Rasool, a person who's anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-American, and clearly anti-Trump. It's not a good move, not a good look. Now, one diplomatic source said that Rasool played into the Americans' hands by crossing a line that we can't defend. as they've been watching him like a hawk because of his pro-Palestine views. Well, we've been watching him like a hawk because it was an insult to appoint him in the first place. That's why the U.S. government was watching him like a hawk, not because of pro-Palestine. There's plenty of people in America that are pro-Palestine. The FBI and diplomatic security are not paying attention to them. No, Ambassador Rasool stepped on his crank, and now he's paying the consequences of it. But at 62, I don't think he really cares. He'll be hailed as a hero by certain groups in the Western Cape, and that'll make him feel good. Meanwhile, he nearly scuttled the relationship between the U.S. and South Africa. It sounds like adults are in the room, and we may be able to get back on track. What say you, South Africa?